Can everyone please be seated? Tēnā koutou katoa, ahi ahi mārie, rangatira mā, hiritanga rangatira mā, no mai haere mai piki mai kaki mai. Kia ora everyone and welcome to our council meeting this afternoon. Very warm welcome to Craig Riddiford and the team from the business associations, both Hastings and Havelock North. Lovely to have you with us and we look forward to your reports today. To our staff, very warm welcome, and to any of our community out there that is going to be with us through our council meeting, welcome to you too. So if we could just invite our wonderful Reverend Jill McDonald from St Andrew's Parish to start our hui today with a karakia. Kia ora, welcome.
Thank you. Kia ino e tātou, let us pray. E te atua kaharawa, Almighty God, as we come to you today at the beginning of another meeting of the Council of Te Rohe o Heretaunga, we come before you with much gratitude as we find ourselves nearly 3 months on from the cyclone. We are grateful for the outpouring of active love and compassion that has erupted from within our district, from throughout Aotearoa and beyond. So many people, organisations, businesses and churches who have stepped up. The kingdom ways of living that Jesus taught us have been breaking through in a multitude of ways through so many, whether they are people of faith or not. So powerful are your ways, O God, that you can work through all people. We are grateful for the leaders of our district, many of whom are sat around this room today. We thank you for their leadership, their care and their wisdom, which has no doubt stretched each of them to capacity over the last few months. May you bless and keep each of them in the months ahead as they continue to make tough decisions that some people are going to be very unhappy with. In the Gospel of Luke, you made it clear that for those whom much has been given, much is expected, and gosh, does that feel tough sometimes. But God, we know that you have instilled the gifts of strength and courage in each leader gathered today to work towards the kind of world that you long for, one where all people can flourish. We are so conscious of the depth and pain and struggle that whānau are experiencing in our district, the suffering that tragically some have decided they can take no more. We know, O God, that you weep with us. And so we bring to you all of the people of Hawke's Bay who are hurting, broken and lost. We pray that all who are hurting may know the aroha and grace of your korowai tapu around their shoulders, a korowai tapu that is in part woven together through the outworking of Christ's love and light in the world, actions of gentleness, compassion and deep listening that all help to heal the brokenhearted. The responsibilities of the Hastings District Council in this rebuild of our community will be immense, especially in light of the exacerbated climate chaos effects that are set to increase. For too long, Te Atua, we have failed to care for your planet. We pray that all of the decisions that are made in this chambers today have both the well-being of our people and the care of creation at front and centre. For it is clear that that is what you long for, O God. May your blessing be upon this meeting and upon all who are gathered here today. E roto i te ingoa o ihu karaete. Amen.
Kia ora, thank you very much, Jill, and thank you for your wonderful work that we're going to embark on together with our communities. It'll be wonderful to have you out there with the team. Can I just, I have no apologies or leave of absence. Any leave of absence requested?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Watkins.
Your Worship, I'd like to apply for leave from the 12th to the 23rd of June.
Thank you. Any further requests? I'll move from the chair that request. Oh, Councillor Kerr.
I was happy to second your wish.
Oh, thank you, Councillor Kerr. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Thank you. That's carried. Just a reminder, if there are any, to declare any conflicts of interest should they arise amongst any councillors. Thank you. Item 4, confirmation of minutes. Any adjustments or changes? Councillor Watkins has moved those minutes. Seconded Councillor Redstone. No amendments or changes. I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Thank you. That's carried. I'd now like to present verbally my Mayor's report for the month ending the 4th of May. Can I first acknowledge the passing of very passionate and dedicated leader, Pat McGill. Pat worked tirelessly his whole life to improve the lives of our most vulnerable people, and he'll be sadly missed by so many. Can I acknowledge Councillor Elwyn Corbyn and Councillor Anne Redstone, who were a great friend of Pat's and had a wonderful tangi yesterday together to acknowledge his life and acknowledge the amazing work he did amongst organisations. And my relationship with Pat was with the Hastings YMCA and the new rebuild. And I just loved working with this most amazing, dedicated community man. Rest in peace, Pat. More than 2 months on now from Cyclone Gabrielle, our focus has turned to the response and from response to recovery, and a lot of work is underway and planning for a better, building back better. And we'll see in your papers today about the first preliminary request to the Crown from Hiritonga Hastings and our Mana Whenua partners, and we'll take the wider response of community recovery plans later on in the month. I know this work isn't coming fast enough to our community as they understand when or whether they can rebuild in their homes, in their spaces, in their properties where they call home, and we're working at pace to get this to community so they can move on with their lives. I wish to acknowledge the hard mahi and the enormous efforts by everyone, our staff and our councillors, and the organisations, social providers supporting our people of Hiritonga. Our recovery work is our key priority, and last month has been a very busy time on many fronts. Bridge openings, we joined the Risington and Dartmoor communities to celebrate the completion of their new bridges. It was wonderful to see these in place and to have the communities reconnected again. The Alice Wallace low-level crossing was also completed in April, and it was fantastic for this community to access home again. Tomoana Showgrounds, our community officially became the proud owner of Tomoana Showgrounds, and it will be vested into a reserve to protect it for generations to come. I'm very thankful for the goodwill of the former owners AMP Society, who will partner with Council and the Waipatu Marae to form a trust to ensure this tonga is managed in the very best way for our people. The Waiheke Marae Community Hui was a great opportunity with Councillor Ana Apatu to hear from whānau in the Waiheke community post-cyclone and make sure that they're getting all the support they need as they rebuild their community. Silt Recovery Task Force, our Hastings District Council and the Regional Council have come together in partnership to set up a silt recovery task force, and there's been an unprecedented estimate of 5 million cubic metres of silt on orchards, farms, roads and properties. To date, about 185 cubic metres of silt has been collected, with around 900 truck movements per day recorded in the month of April, and we were delighted to get the first announcement yesterday of silt support from the Crown. As you know, we have been spending up to $5 million a month. Cyclone support events. There have been a number of community events and initiatives held throughout April to support our community in the impacted cyclone, and there has been a wonderful Stronger Than Storm event in the Havelock North Village Green, and the Hawke's Bay Together Black and White Day, where hundreds of people across the region dressed in black and white and fundraise to show solidarity for those affected. We also had the scooter ride from Napier to Wellington, which I set off on 7 o'clock on Saturday morning. I didn't ride, but it was great fun to see 170 people scootering down to Wellington. It took them 9 hours, and they hope to raise $200,000 for the Cyclone Relief Fund. I was privileged to attend a pohiri at the Omahu Marae with the Māori King to understand the impact of the cyclone on our Māori communities. And thank you to the councillors who attended that hui with many, many of our community. And it was incredible to see the amazing support. We had the incredible Regional Aquatic Centre with a national swimming champs, and I went with Sir Graham Avery and with more than 470 swimmers across Aotearoa came to Hastings to compete throughout this 5-day event. And what an event it was. You know, all families and everybody coming here to see this top level of swimming, and to hear that we have the only 50-metre pool in New Zealand to hold these national champs here in Hastings. We can be incredibly proud of that amazing facility. We had the Sikh parade with Councillor Redstone and Councillor Harvey with our Sikh community who came together to celebrate a very special spiritual festival and a very colourful street parade, and our city was buzzing with our Sikh community, sharing the joy with everyone. It was lovely to be part of. There was a health promotion for bowel screening, so along with Councillors Apatu and Councillor Jessup, we took part in Te Whatu Ora's health promotion to help people understand the importance of preventing bowel cancer. We had a visit from the Ombudsman to our region to get a better understanding of the issues that we are facing post-cyclone and to raise awareness of the Ombudsman's role and responsibility and how we can work together. We've enjoyed 2 citizenship ceremonies in the last month, both amazing citizenships, and lots and lots of, you know, really wonderful new citizens who are incredibly proud, and we were very proud to welcome them. Stephen Yarwood, the urban futurist, was fascinating with all our community to hear from him and us to spend a day in workshop to look at ideas of how we work together with our community to ensure that Hastings CBD continues to develop for future generations, and how we bring a lens of futurism across what we do and what our cities will look like in the future. And all of Hort post-Gabriel welfare gathering, I opened with our Hort sector the other day on Thursday, and it was amazing to have 250 of our very, very impacted Hort growers, and it was a fantastic opportunity to have everyone in the room to update them on recovery efforts and support them as they go forward in their clean-up, their rebuild and their recovery. Thank you to everyone who attended the Anzac Day services, which once again was well attended, and we had some high numbers across all of the Anzac Day services across the district to remember our men and women who served for our country's freedom. And I acknowledge everybody who was out supporting our community in those services. We had a message from Gwelan, our sister city, and it was a thrill to join Councillor Watkins and to admire more than 60 wonderfully colourful artworks created by the children of our sister city who wanted to offer support and encouragement to our Hastings district post-cyclone. And Councillor Watkins has been to a number of schools, including Pātoka, Heraworth, Hastings Intermediate, and I'm sure there's others to come. And so these pictures that the children have drawn from Gwelan and sent over here have been greatly received across our district. The Winter Fork, we had a launch of the Winter Fork event, and it was launched at the Black Barn. Great to see Black Barn back up and running now as a wonderful restaurant facility for our Hastings district, and they've got a great program for everyone to enjoy across June and July, and hopefully we bring our visitors back. The announcement yesterday was about Datacom, which is a growing team in Hawke's Bay, and so they're establishing their new collaborative workspace in Hastings, and that's a great announcement. They announced that they're coming to Hastings, and we're absolutely delighted to have them and welcome them to our city. That concludes my report, and I hope I haven't missed anything that anybody's been to on our behalf. Thank you, Councillor Butto, for attending through RAG, the Rural Advisory Group, with the Regional Council to look at how we support our rural communities through this time. So I'm happy to move my report Do I have a seconder? Thank you. Thank you, councillor Hickey. Any further questions or anyone like to add anything? Councillor Sholem.
Thank you, Worship. Just would also like to acknowledge the hope-filled hearts that the Hastings City Business Association rolled out over 6 weeks, allowing our community to come and write messages which were then passed on to the affected communities. It was a really lovely way of the community coming together.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that. I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any against? Thank you. That's carried. Now we move on to item 6, and we have the Hastings City Business Association 23-24 annual plan. Welcome to both the team. Emma, Craig, you coming up to answer anything? You're all good? You're happy there? Okay. Excellent. Welcome. Thank you for your report.
Thank you, Ms. Sandra. Hello, everybody. For those who do not know who I am, I'm Emma. I'm here in my capacity as the Acting General Manager for the Hastings City Business Association. So I just wanted to start by explaining that our annual plan is always created in consultation with our wider membership community, based on their feedback and on surveys that we send out to them, and we talk to them after each event or initiative to gain feedback and decide whether or not there is capacity or interest in repeating events or doing something new. And then that is always consulted with our board as well. So I just want to briefly read parts of a summary that many of you were emailed, but I do think it's really key information. So we are continuing to see confidence in Hastings as a place to do business. Although we have seen a few business closures, we have had over 15 new businesses join our membership during the last year. And talking to local real estate agents, there is still very strong interest from other entities looking to move into Hastings CBD, both within our membership zone and the wider Hastings district. Quest Hastings is opening on the 5th of June, which is very exciting. And the sale of the old Westpac building in Hiratonga Street West has gone through, which is also exceptionally exciting for everybody involved. So there is a lot of investor confidence within our city centre, as we know, with a lot of the developments happening both east and west. So it's just, lots of exciting and positive opportunities ahead for Hastings. So I just want to briefly touch on completed initiatives that we have done so far in the year to date. So of course we are still have the next couple of months to get through. But we completed the free parking campaign, our CBD activation being the ice rink. We created an interactive CBD map that's hosted on our website. We partnered with council for the Blossom Festival and created an activation in the City Mall. As part of the Hawke's Bay Arts Festival and during the month of October, we applied for and received vibrancy funding to help do the street art campaign called Feast Your Eyes. We held a professional services dinner with Mike Alsop. We held our Christmas campaign, which was Santa's Hastings Holiday, and we had our Easter campaign, which was Hop, Hop, Hop. So that was a repeat of a previous year's campaign that went well, and this year exceeded the year prior, which is really exciting. We are currently still and will continue to run our Discover Hastings marketing campaign, which promotes our Hastings CBD as a place to do business, to dine, to shop, to experience and to discover. I'll just touch on the Hope-Filled Hearts campaign that was due to roll out earlier. However, we pushed that out just ever so slightly due to a printing error. So that was due to launch this week, but it will now launch next week for the next few weeks. So apologies, Wendy. So I got you there. But yes, so just very briefly, that is a gold coin donation that any visitor to the CBD can make at businesses that will host a collection. In exchange for a cardboard heart they can write a message of hope on that will be displayed in the business, and at the conclusion of the 6 weeks we'll collect those hearts and deliver them out to the communities that were worst affected by the cyclone, just as a small thing that the CBD can do. And that was created based on members telling us that they all collectively wanted to do something but they weren't really sure what. So this is something that has so far been received quite well which we will move ahead with. We launched this week our Changemakers video series. So we launched our introduction video that's currently on LinkedIn and Facebook, but it is being promoted to Wellington, Auckland, Waikato, Manawatu, Wanganui. So that is a series that focuses on Hastings as a place to do business, either bringing a business here, expanding a business, or if you're a developer looking for somewhere else to bring opportunity, they should all be looking at Hastings CBD as an option. There is a 6-part video series to follow the launch video this week. And we have our International Women's Day breakfast on the 31st of May, so that was postponed due to the cyclone, and we have got strong ticket sales for that, which is very exciting. So we currently have 152 attendees coming to that event. Looking ahead, so this is our draft annual plan, based on, as I say, consultation with members and our board, and also looking at what has worked previously and how we can better those opportunities going forward. So we will be looking to do a CBD winter activation, and that will be in partnership and collaboration with Hastings District Council around Matariki and the 150-year celebrations that are happening this year. We will continue our Discover Hastings campaign as a spring marketing activity. We are sponsoring 2 focus on business breakfast series of Hastings District Councils. We felt that that was a better alignment than continuing necessarily with our professional services dinners. We did survey our professional services network to ask what they would prefer, and breakfasts were very strongly the preference. So we have made a shift there, including a partnership with Hastings District Council. So leading on from that, we are holding our own breakfast still in September during Mental Health Week with Mike King as the speaker. We will again also partner with Hastings District Council around Blossom Festival plans, and we are looking to hold an activation again this year, similar to what we did last year. We'll collaborate with Arts Inc Hiratonga for the Arts Festival, and we'll also support Photo Fest, which is being put together by Photo Iwi. We're just talking to them now around collaborations and what that support looks like. We'll again do a Christmas promotion. We are going to look to bring the bumper boats back into the CBD, into the mall, as that was quite well received last time and created a lot of positive media attention for Hastings CBD. We'll hold another larger shop and win retail campaign, not quite as large as the one we did in 2020, but it will be a bigger draw card than the smaller ones that we've done previously. We'll again run an Easter campaign, a Bay Plaza promotion, and then throughout the year we'll still look to do social media takeovers and support for our business members, continue the Discover Hastings marketing campaign. We're going to reintroduce coffee catch-ups and business outreach, so I will base myself at different cafes and hospitality spots around town and invite members to join me for 1 to 2 hours at their leisure if there's anything they would like to discuss or if they would just like to talk to other members. Networking evenings, we'll look to hold those bi-monthly, so that will be hosted in businesses around the CBD for them to promote their business to other members or those they wish to invite. And business collaboration, so talking to businesses to get them to think outside of the box as to how they can collaborate with each other to help leverage each other at the same time. And obviously we will do what we can in the space of business attraction as we've been doing, which is more reactive than proactive. And that is me for now, unless there are any questions. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Emma. Thank you for a very thorough report and all the wonderful things that you've been doing in our city. Any questions, anybody? Any comments? With the Councillor Kerr?
Thank you very much for that thorough report, and looking forward to many of those activations. I was interested, what is a successful event, or what is a successful activation, and what does success mean? Because you spoke about the Hop 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 was a repeat of a previous one and it was better this time. Yes. So what does that mean?
So when I talk about success of an event, it is dependent on the individual event itself and to what we looked to as measures of that particular event. So Hop Hop Hop, as an example, a successful event in that space for us is that there is more uptake than the year previous, so more entries, which means more families and more people coming into the CBD and exploring the CBD while they're doing that Easter egg hunt. So we had 100 more entrants than we did the year previously, which is, in my mind, that's great because that's 100 children, but actually not children. We had an 83-year-old who also entered the competition. So the average age was 12 of the entrants. So 100 extra people coming into the CBD, in my mind, over one Easter weekend is fantastic for Hastings City. And while it may not directly benefit the businesses around that area, it's still people in our city and seeing what there is available and seeing what's open and seeing what's here. So dependent on the event depends on the measures of success.
Councillors who are on the advisory, as advisory on board, would you like to add anything?
Thank you. I'd actually say it on behalf or to both associations to save some time, but I think what I'd just like to comment on is that we are in a good space with our business associations, both from a governance perspective, but also also around management and the concepts and stuff that the marketing initiatives and stuff that they do. And I made a comment around the change makers, and I think that's something worthwhile looking at because not only is it getting comments from retailers in the CBD, but also some of our key property developers as well. And I think those messages that they are saying outwardly across LinkedIn and stuff is just fantastic way to actually promote our CBD. So well done on that one in particular.
Thank you.
Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Worship. I'd just like to acknowledge, again, both business associations in this context, how adaptive they've been in, again, extraordinary circumstances. So we'd just like to acknowledge the amount of work that's gone in from those who are managing the business associations, but also the governance side of things. And thank you for what you're doing and continuing to show up with a smile.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have recommendations there, Councillor. Have a mover Councillor Sholom, second Councillor Harvey. No further questions or comments. I'll put those recommendations. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandra.
And thank you to Chair Craig and also Angus, and thank you for your support for our city and our business community. Now, very warm welcome to the other MR, Havelock North Business Association, and we look forward to hearing your report.
Hello everyone, I'm Emma McRobbie, the manager of the Havelock North Business Association. Thank you all for having me here today to run you through our latest annual plan. Over the last 3 years, the Havelock North Business Association has been focused on evolving and modernising our offering to best serve our membership. We have refreshed some concepts and introduced a range of new promotions while taking on board member feedback with each campaign. This has helped us further develop our marketing activity to give the maximum benefit to our business members across all sectors. Our biggest spend item going back many years has been our Village Street Carnival event. After a lot of discussion based around the last few years of member feedback, we have realised while the event provides a fun day out for the community, it isn't successfully delivering enough return on investment for our membership. This year we have decided to again embrace doing things a little bit differently. By breaking down the carnival event budget, we will be able to enhance our existing promotions and events as well as add some new ones in to give more tangible benefit to our members. Our new plan aimed to activate our CBD multiple times a year versus just one big day. Our planned promotions this year include an Enjoy Local campaign, which is a June campaign with a support local message focusing on retail, health and beauty. It's a mixed media campaign that encourages people to shop locally through the quieter months of the year. Gift Local is a smaller version of this campaign, and it's encouraging people to get out and support local with their Christmas gifting and celebrating. We're looking to add a currently unnamed hospitality promotion. It's a new month-long campaign during August to bring out locals despite winter weather to support our cafes, eateries and bars. We will look to create a guide of exclusive offers from our hospitality members that will be available to the public through the entire month. This could be something like a special item, a new release, or a set menu. We will promote it with the goal of getting locals out to try multiple offers by offering a competition where they can enter a draw to go into and hospitality vouchers for the more offers that they get out and try. Our Holiday Have Look North is our domestic tourism campaign that's in collaboration with Hawke's Bay Tourism. This year, we are looking to once again include a competition aspect where an out-of-towner wins a holiday experience in Have Look North. We are also looking to give away a staycation to a local family affected by the floods. Faces and Places Behind the Biz is a video campaign putting faces to our professional service businesses. Our members are given questions prior so they can talk about their business, what attracted them to our CBD, and what they love about being based in Have Look North. With the generous support of Council's videographer services, we have produced 10 videos for the series so far and have just filmed another 3. It has been a great success on our social media, and our professional service members are really engaging with the concept and are starting to ask to be involved versus us having to go out to them. Love Your Local is another social media campaign, again putting faces to businesses, but instead we're spotlighting members across all of our sectors. Summer Sundays. Over summer, we push for more of our retail and hospitality businesses to reconsider opening Sundays to support the influx of visitors we have to the area. We average about 12 to 15 extra businesses deciding to open December to February, and we run a digital campaign to promote who is open and let people know our CBD is the place to be for Sundays through summer. To complement our promotional campaigns, we have a range of activations and events planned this year. Village on Sale wraps up our Enjoy Local campaign. We have an end-of-season Village on Sale event happening in July. For our third annual year, we want to grow the event to be a real day out, something that locals not only come to visit their favourite shops, but stay a while and explore other retail. This time, we are looking to enhance the event and will be activating the CBD with music entertainment, window art, encouraging selfies, and also have competitions that the more places they support, the more chances they get to win. We are also looking to try a second Village on Sale at the end of October to launch our Gift Local campaign to again give our members an opportunity for another end-of-season clear-out, which is something that our carnival usually provides at that time of year. Hospitality happy hours. Through our month-long hospitality campaign, we're going to run happy hour events at our members' venues, encouraging people to come out after work and socialise in the village in spite of winter weather, and as an additional promotion for our offers guide. We will use local beverage suppliers to do in-venue tastings and provide live music to make a unique offering that attracts locals along and also provides activity for winter visitors to engage with. Our new community event. In April, we held a successful cyclone fundraiser down on the village green. We were specific in removing stalls and only having a couple of food trucks. We instead focused our spend on providing entertainment for a fun day out with the goal of people stopping at the shops or grabbing a coffee on their way down. We had great feedback from our hospitality that before and after the event they were having an influx of guests as well as coffee being in high demand all day. Holding the event on the village green meant that we weren't shutting down streets like we have done for our carnival, meaning our businesses could trade as usual while enjoying a bump in Sunday visitors to the CBD. It also minimised parking issues as we weren't removing access to a large portion of our CBD car parks. The board sees our annual community event as the day we give back to the locals who are supporting our businesses year-round. They absolutely want to continue to provide a fun family day out in Have Look North with the support of council, but pivoting the event concept significantly reduces the budget to carry the day out. It solves the issues members have with it negatively affecting their usual trade and gives us the means to invest more back into our other planned activity that it has a higher return on investment for our membership. The board has decided against changing the event and keeping it under carnival branding to avoid confusion between the new concept and the past event, and also to leave carnival in our back pocket in case future boards ever want to look at reviving the concept. Themed window art. We're looking at using central CBD windows to create a mix of selfie window backgrounds and art activations, and promotional art activations to create a vibrant CBD through the year. These will be used for large local events like Art Deco and the Hawke's Bay Marathon, as well as celebrating holidays like Easter with an egg hunt similar to what Hastings has done, or something like an Anzac tribute. The windows would all include our Love Havelock North branding, and we think it'll be a great way to sort of get some social media activation and visitors to the area sort of posting and sharing about their visit to Havelock North. We will also look to use these for some of our promotional activity to reduce our use of billboard signage and posters for the likes of Enjoy and Gift Local. For Christmas events this year, we're pulling back from adding our own Christmas community event and instead directing our focus to what our members have planned. We want to help them with their marketing collateral, sponsorship connections and promotion. This includes Carols on the Green, Christmas crafts and local Christmas market days. We have members who are carrying out great events but really struggle with getting the marketing right. We want to support them to carry out successful events that attract the wider community to Havelock North CBD. We will also again do our Santa mail. We have a big red themed mailbox that we put in the CBD for 6 weeks while carrying out our Gift Local promotion. Children can write letters, we send them off to NZ Post and they get a reply from Santa. Last year we had about 2,000 letters posted, all of which bringing parents into the CBD to deliver the mail to the mailbox. The Village Eyesight team kindly supported the initiative by bringing the box in and out each day and helping keep us in the loop when top-ups were needed. We also have a few general marketing initiatives to tick away at this year. These include a brand refresh. We will definitely be continuing with the Love Havelock North logo as it's catchy and has such great brand recognition around it. However, after more than 10 years, it's time to just update fonts, colours and imagery to better align with our annual activity. We also want to ensure our campaigns are cohesively branded to tie in with the overall Love Havelock North guidelines. Our website is a great marketing tool that we tie a lot of our activity back to help promote our business profiles. Most of our website traffic is out-of-town visitors versus our social media, which has a larger local following. The website homepage is a little clunky and not a great experience on mobile, so we want to simplify it to be a more show-not-tell situation, encouraging people to stay longer and explore the website listings and information. Last year, we started a website blog. These posts were targeted at visitors and primarily used in our domestic tourism campaign. This year, we want to grow our collection with one per month and promote them more frequently as a way to promote a collective of member businesses all at once. Another new addition to our plan this year is using magazine advertorial to promote Havelock North businesses to locals. We are taking out 4 double-page advertorials in Bay Buzz magazine. These advertorials will be aligned with our promotional activity at the time, and across the 4 advertorials, we will cover off all of our membership sectors: shop, eat, stay, play, and live. For workshops and business development, we will continue to provide member access to local and digital options being carried out by the likes of Chamber of Commerce, Council, and Hawke's Bay Tourism. Uptake has not been huge on this initiative, but it is in line with the interest we were seeing when we were holding our own workshop events. We've realised that technology enables our members to have access 24/7 to learning tools online, and they simply just don't rely on in-person events as much as they have in the past. Providing our support in this way means that those members who want to upskill have access to high-quality courses that are specific to their needs, and we're helping fill up the great events happening around the Bay. Member engagement at our meet and greet networking events has been a huge challenge for the last few years. Life is busy and people are more wary of how they spend their personal time. Feedback from our business community is that they already felt well connected to one another and they have the ability to connect business to business as they need to. Our AGM last year was a turning point. After an abysmal turnout in 2021, we were determined to get people along, so we promoted the AGM with a members' celebration to follow and had a successful 80 RSVPs. Following this, we adapted the way we promoted our November networking event, changing it to an end-of-year Christmas party, and our plan worked and we ended up with over 175 RSVPs. The board took this as members voting with their feet. That they do want to get together, but the formality associated with networking was off-putting. That the frequency was too much of a time commitment, and that they will come together when it involves celebrating as a community. Taking that on board, this year we are continuing with membership celebration style events, including a mid-year local legends celebration to acknowledge the businesses that stepped up for the community following the cyclone, our AGM celebration, an end-of-year Christmas party, and a welcome back get-together to kick off 2024. I don't need to tell you all that the last 3 years have been challenging, to say the least. The Havelock North Business Association has worked hard to listen and encourage member feedback to put forward an annual plan that best serves our business community. Our members are feeling heard and in turn engaging more and more. They can see that we do our best to factor in their constructive feedback as we continue to grow our promotional activity and events calendar. We're coming up to our 1-year anniversary of our expanded rated levy area. We've worked hard to engage with the businesses in the extended area and ensure they feel connected to our promotional activity. To name a few things, we have hosted 2 community activations on Donnelly Street, touched base face-to-face to welcome new members, used Donnelly and Cooper Street suppliers to help cater our celebrations, and made sure to have representation in our social media business profile campaigns. Our proposed annual plan this year is a big one, but we're excited to adapt once again and keep up with the evolving needs of our membership. The board has asked me to pass along their sincere thanks to Council for your ongoing support of our association, to both Damon and Wendy for the generous time they give us as councillor representatives, to Kev Carter for being our go-to man for all things and questions council related, and to the wider council staff for their support, collaboration and time. So thank you all very much. That concludes my presentation today. Can I answer any questions?
Emma, that's a very thorough presentation. Well done. Councillor Hickey?
Tēnei te mihi hoki ki a koe. He pātai, so firstly just to acknowledge you for your presentation, and it's really great. Probably just a comment and a question that I have is, since the cyclone, what kind of services or professional services have been offered to businesses within your sector or within both associations to support them going forward?
We haven't offered any sort of financial support or anything like that. We have had a members event offering people the opportunity to sort of come together and connect with the board and let us know if there's anything they needed. We sort of found business-wise they were all okay. It was more in their personal lives and in their staff's lives where they were sort of struggling a bit more. But they all seemed really confident in what they were doing. The first day following the cyclone and the day after that, myself, 2 board members and our admin support, Mari, all went out straight to the CBD to connect with any businesses that were open and sort of check how everybody was doing. So yeah, I suppose that's what we've done.
Okay. I guess it would be really great just from both associations to get a kind of a definitive understanding on the level of support that might be needed, and so services, professional services can be offered. Okay. The other one is around the types of businesses, including those of ethnicity, either Māori, Pacifica or ethnic minorities. I'm interested in if there is a breakdown, because obviously I'm aware of various agencies that can support various organisations like that.
I don't have that breakdown, but I think you're right, it's probably an interesting thing to find out.
Yeah, it was just a comment and a thought maybe. Yeah.
Thank you.
Tēnā koutou.
Emma, and I didn't ask Emma, but just interested to understand the feeling of perhaps, you know, our business community. And I see in some stats that retail spend from March 22 to March 23 is up by 21%. And that's the district, so Hastings and Havelock. So I just wonder how are the businesses sort of faring? Are they worried about recession? Are they worried about cyclone impacts, or what is the general sentiment?
Our retailers really struggled straight off the bat after the cyclone and through that recovery period. A lot of our retailers, obviously, a lot of clothing and more of those gifting sort of items. So it was something that it wasn't an essential spend. So people sort of paused on that for a while. I had a couple of retailers who were really affected and quite worried about what the effects on their business were going to be, because they already were focusing on the fact we were going into a recession. The feedback over the last couple of weeks with school holidays and Easter weekend has been really positive. We had a lot of visitors come through the region, which really helped them, and they're really starting to feel that the locals are getting back out and supporting again. Their biggest challenge was sort of how they continue to promote themselves when other people are struggling, and making sure they're striking that right balance of being conscious of what's going on around them, while also trying to keep their businesses running and encourage spending.
Right. Thank you. That's very positive. Thank you. Emma, did you want to just have a feel of how your business community are
Hijack this
faring?
one. Yeah, very similar to Havelock North. The initial week to 2 weeks following, I think there was a little bit of concern around the lower foot traffic in particular, but in all honesty, a lot of the feedback from businesses was concern about the community as opposed to their own individual interests at that point. And we did have a few members that were directly affected, or staff that were directly affected, so that was their biggest concern at that time. Yes, the spend was, for Hastings District, it really did fly up, and the biggest spend, I think it was the Thursday when it opened and people could come across to Hastings. That was the biggest day of spend, because there was still no power in the majority of Napier at that point, so people were coming over to do their shopping. So from a business standpoint, that was a very good day in the wake of what was a really awful thing that happened to our community. And now I think they were already very well aware that this was going to be a hard year anyway. So they've kind of just rolling with it. They're kind of just, there's a very strong, it is what it is mentality. They were already prepared for a hard year, and this is just something else that they've thrown into that mix, really. Thank you.
Just to
Councillor
add to that, we had a few of our members who did struggle more, particularly retailers, and some of our accommodation and things like that, with the CBDs being shut and all that sort of stuff, but they have connected with Chamber of Commerce and received appropriate funding and things like that, so it was really good to know that process was there to support them.
We've just got a question from Councillor Jessup.
Thank you, Your Honour. Mihi atu ki a koe, Emma. I'd just like to ask, incorporating in these days, is there a way of including mana whenua to get more patronage from us to come out there and enjoy it in a warmer capacity? Because sometimes we feel excluded, and I don't want to go over what that means, but there is ways of incorporating mana whenua into those days. And I'd really value if you, on behalf of us as mana whenua, if you could incorporate that into your calendar going forward.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jessup, and I think that would be great to link in actually with Councillor Jessup with the connections to, because sometimes it's about, connecting into people to make sure everyone's included and invited. So I think that our managers can link in with you, Councillor Jessup, to make sure that everyone's there. That'd be cool.
Myself and Murray, who works with me in admin social media capacity, were actually discussing the other day what we could do around more cultural business attraction to our CBD, so I'd really like to connect with you on
Awesome. Kia ora. Thank you very much. Well, thank you for the great presentations. Craig Angus, you're all good? You don't want to add anything to the wider scheme of things? No? All good? Well, thank you very much, everybody, for your great reports and all your hard mahi that's been happening over the last year and what is to come. So we always look forward to having you in the chamber and hearing all of the great work you're doing. So thank you. Thank you, councillors. We just move the report. Happy to move from the chair for Havelock North Business Association. Seconded, Councillor Butto. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Thank you. That's carried. Thank you, everybody. You're welcome to stay or get on with your business. Now we move on to item 8, which is the proposed Hastings District Friendship Agreement and with Samoa and the district. And I'll just invite Nigel to give us a bit of a background to this paper.
Through you, Your Worship, talofa lava, malo lesa fua maua, malalangi e mama. yeah, look, I'll take the report as read, but just a few key points. Obviously, we know we have a large and growing permanent Pacific population in Hastings and Hawke's Bay that is significantly added to for 7 months of every year, with over 5,000 RSC workers that come in from a range of Pacific Islands. The relationship with Samoa, so the RSC scheme has been going for 17 years. One of the very first connections that was made between Hastings and Samoa was the village of Potasi and Whaliali'i, and the relationship with the Yummy Apple Company initially, in terms of the inception of the RSC scheme. Today, RSC, we know, plays a very critical role in supporting the powerhouse of the Hawke's Bay economy, which is our primary sector. And importantly, was designed to play a really important role in supporting community development and individuals in our Pacific Island nations. So what this paper is proposing is that we enter into, between Hastings and the district of Whaliali'i on the island of Upolu in Samoa, a sister friendship agreement, which basically, like our friendship agreements in China and our sister city relationship with Guilin, looks to promote in a very deliberate way the goodwill and relationships between our respective districts. This really aligns with and builds on the Prime Minister of Samoa, Fiami Mataafa, came to Hastings in the middle of last year, acknowledged how joined up we were as a region across industry, iwi, mana whenua and civic leadership. And what's proposed is that we enter into this sister friendship agreement, and that me, Sandra and myself travel with iwi leadership and a range of our industry leaders that are going to Samoa in the week of the 22nd of May for a trade conference that's being sponsored by both the Samoan government and New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, and basically formally enter into the sister district relationship between Hastings and Whaliali'i. So happy to take any question to worship through you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nigel. Councillor Watkins.
Thank you, Worship. I greatly support this initiative because it's one that will be incredibly visible to the Hastings community. We see the RSC workers everywhere, whether it's supermarket in the streets, retail out on the orchards. So I think it's a perfect fit, and it's exactly what Friendship Cities was set up to achieve. So well done.
Thank you, Councillor Watkins. If anyone knows Friendship and Sister Cities, it is you, with you protecting our relationship, and I think that is the key, is being able to, have that living relationship, and this is what, this would enable if councillors support it. Other views? Councillor Apatu.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would just like to echo Councillor Watkins' comments, and just to thank and acknowledge the RSC worker community that we have here. They're very much part of our community. They bring amazing workforce and support to us, and really at times during the cyclone were an amazing volunteer base as well at the showgrounds, helping out after their day work, and so I'm really supporting the initiative.
Thank you, Councillor Apatu. Any other views?
What if Your Worship? More than happy to move. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dixon. Councillor Nixon, you second? Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you. I just want to add really that having the visit from the Prime Minister Samoa last year, and having Joe, one of the chiefs, visit us just after the or just during the cycling, just after, and just seeing the enormous response from our RSCs, like Councillor Apatu has just mentioned. Our recovery as a region is going to rely heavily on the manpower and the work that we can get done. And when we had Councillor Kerr and I visiting one of our horticulturalists and seeing these guys out there, the only ones in the silt in the very early days, and how hard they were working, And then as we rebuild and replant, we're going to need this workforce to help us recover as a region, and our success as a region depends on that support. So this relationship is really key and really critical right now as we move forward into our recovery. So I have a mover and a seconder. I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any against? Thank you. That's carried. Moving on. Item 9, which is the transportation operations and asset management contracts, and welcome to Francois. We haven't got Marius today, we've got Francois Jag. Oh, good, I'm pleased he's having a holiday. Excellent, after all the work in the roading. Cool.
Kia ora, Your Worship, councillors, colleagues. Yes, I'm presenting the report on behalf of Marius, who's away on a well-deserved leave after intense few months. The report about the operations and asset management contracts extensions. We have a group of 10 contracts in terms of our operations and supporting our operations and asset management. These 10 contracts were due to expire at the end of June. With the impact of the cyclone, some of these contracts were ready to be advertised by end of February or have been advertised already. With the impact of the cyclone, we know the workload of the cyclone would require the resources of our industry, our own resources and the industry in the recovery process. So we seeked, as council officers, and we seeked approval from Waka Kotahi to extend these contracts for a term of 3 years. And this report requests delegated authority to the CE to negotiate the extensions of these contracts. So I take it that the report has been read, and welcome to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Francois. Is any questions? Councillor Barrow.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a huge appreciation for the contractors that have been out there and dealing with the aftermath of the cyclone. Massive amount of work that's gone on there and a huge amount of effort put in. Very happy to support this.
Thank you, Councillor Barrow. Councillor Kerr?
Certainly acknowledge those comments, and when I look at some of the value of these contracts, they are huge, and I see the endorsement of Waka Kotahi and the support for what we're trying to do, so that gives me absolute confidence that this is the right thing to do. It takes a lot of pressure off a lot of people, allowing us to get on and do what our community wants us to do, which is work on the roads. So I'm very happy to support the recommendations and move the recommendations, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Kerr. Have a seconder?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Watkins. Significant, the rural road maintenance, 95 million. You know, when you see the sums of this, and then the urban plains maintenance, 46 million. So, you know, we can see where our ratepayers' money goes to and what it's going to go to in the future. When you look at this graph here, it is significant, and I'd like to also endorse the support of the hard work that's gone on in the last 11 weeks. Thank you very much. Any other further comments, councillors, or questions on this enormity of these recommendations? Access is the most important part to the success of our district and our region, and rural roads play an enormous part, and we look forward to going up to Tutera for my first time on Monday to see our community there, given that they have been cut off, or sort of cut off mostly, until the end of May. And it'll be great to be up there with them. Councillor Heke?
Tātu hei mihi kia koe mo tō rōpū hei tautoko a tātou nei hāpuri. I'd just like to stand and also tautoko the words or support the comments that we made in regards to this May that you've done. Despite the fact that it might not look as if Māori have been impacted by the cyclone out there in the rural areas and that, know that they have been, because isolation is everywhere. And just kia kaha kia mai kia manauni. Thank you.
Kia ora. Thank you, Councillor Heke. I'll put that recommendation, have we got a mover and a seconder? Yes, I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any against? Thank you, that's carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 11. Item 10. Welcome to John Payne, parking control. We always love to see you, John. Hastings Street and Windsor Ave.
Thank you very much. I'm filling in for James as he's gone and had an operation on his foot. So two minor, well, not necessarily minor, but not very in-depth controls. We're wanting a couple of 3 spaces put back to what they were before, and that puts them in line with the rest of the surrounding area as well, because they were needed by the previous business and they're no longer needed. And also, we already have some control measures along Windsor Road. However, some legal advice is that if people park on the road, then we can't use those controls. So we just need to expand that a bit better to include the grass verge. So that's pretty much the content of the report.
Thank you very much, John. And Councillor Nixon?
Thanks. Clearly, according to your notes, the parking on Windsor Avenue is mostly connected with the summer cricket season. What thought has been given as to where people might park if we prevent them from parking on the grass where they're currently parking? Because there's no parking on that part of Windsor Ave. It's next to Splash Planet, which means there's no parking there at the same time. And so we're just into a few urban streets, and I just wonder, do we have a parking plan, or are we just going to ban them?
I think the intention was to ban them from that particular area in the first place, because we've already got yellow lines all the way along there. But that's more based on safety reasons. But what's happening is they're parking over the other side of the yellow lines onto the grass, and that can't be enforced, but is still just as dangerous because it's the entry in and out of those areas. So I guess at the end of the day, it's not really taking away from what's already there. But as far as I'm aware, there's no plan to increase parking in that area for those events. But we can certainly look at what's available and see if we can come up with alternatives.
Yeah, I'm just sort of concerned because it's, I mean, I go down there a lot, I cycle down there often, and I've actually never seen anything that looked particularly dangerous when I go past. It is the summer, so the ground's dry. It's not as though they're chewing up the grass, as would happen in the middle of winter. Yeah. And I just think we're going to shift the problem to another part of the area and not really achieve all that much. I just can't quite understand why it's considered so dangerous, because I haven't seen any evidence of that.
Yep, I guess that's in support when James does these evaluations. He talks with the traffic engineer as well. I think the yellow lines have been there for quite some time, and that was the intention was for them not to be parking in that area. It's really just a loophole that they're being able to get past it. A lot of people don't actually park there anyway. It's probably just for the ones that have identified that they can get away with it.
Thank you. Councillor Nixon, you comfortable with that response?
No, that's right.
Okay. We need to get you down there in the height of cricket season. Councillor Sholem?
Thank you, Worship. Somewhat in contradiction of my esteemed colleague and neighbour. I hope he doesn't reach across and clip me after this. I have seen some quite dangerous behaviour around there, and I can absolutely recognise the intention for some time as being no parking along there, including the berm. So this feels very logical, as does the other proposal. So I'm very, very happy to move the recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Sholem. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Redstone. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. Any against?
Yes, ma'am.
Record your vote. Thank you, Councillor Nixon. The vote is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, John. Moving on to item 11, This is change of terms of reference for the Risk and Assurance Committee and to allow the Chair of Performance and Monitoring, Councillor Harvey, to be on the Risk and Assurance Committee. Happy to move from the Chair. Second, Councillor Kerr. Any comments? Councillor Harvey. Oh, we've got some comments. Thought it was just going. Thank you.
No, I just think, and I have spoken to Mr. Allen around this, that it just needs to be amendment that I think it should actually be the title of the, rather than the person, so that it keeps it consistent over terms as well. And that also refers back through to the terms of reference, and it sits in there as well. So it's just not we don't run the risk of forgetting about it based on that it's about that role.
Yep, thank you. We'll, take that as an action. Councillor.
So an amendment.
Is it an amendment?
Through your worship, so we have an amended resolution to capture that segment.
Okay.
Which Lynn's going to pop up.
Great, thank you. Oh, great. You've got it all organised. Councillor Dixon?
Yeah, mine was similar to Councillor Harvey's.
Thank you. Councillor Nixon?
Yeah, thank you, Worship. As Deputy Chair, I wasn't aware this was happening. I don't know whether I missed it. And I just wondered what is the consideration that has led to this?
The consideration that's led to this is that it's absolutely critical to have the Chair of Performance and Monitoring understanding as we manage our operations, to understand the risk assessments and the and also the functioning of the business and what risks are there. So it's very hard to just read minutes, but capturing what is happening under the Risk and Assurance Committee is really important for the Chair of Performance and Monitoring. Thank you. Councillor Fowler?
Yes, I totally support the Chair of Performance Monitoring being on, because otherwise I was relaying stuff to my chair, and I felt that this should be, or the role should be there. So.
Excellent. It's very important to have that on top. Okay, thank you, Councillor Kerr.
As mover, if you're happy to accept the changes, and as seconder, I am.
Great, thank you. Happy to accept those changes. Councillor Nixon, did you have anything else to add?
No, it was just a question.
Okay, just got your light on. Thank you. I have a mover and seconder. I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Thank you, that's carried. Moving on now to the Youth Council. Welcome to Emma. And this is the council appointments to our subcommittees. Youth Council appointments. Lovely to see you, Emma. We look forward to working with the Youth Council appointments on our subcommittees. Did you want anything to your paper, Emma?
Absolutely not. I think it's hopefully you've all read it.
Self-explanatory. All right. Anybody wish to ask anything about those appointees or their work, or are we comfortable with the direction? Looks like we've got a dynamic Youth Council this year, very committed and focused, which is wonderful. When did you, Councillor Sean, did you want to add anything?
Thank you, Worship. Just to say that we are blessed yet again with a fantastic Youth Council, and they're absolutely biting at the bit to get involved and are looking forward to meeting all the respective chairs. So they've put a lot of careful planning into who they've put forward, and I'm thrilled to see the names.
Great, thank you. Councillor Heke.
Your Worship, more so just an observation on the roles, and I definitely support our rangatahi, but I did make an observation that, and maybe they were invited, but no one participated. Any of our kura kaupapa or wharekura, I noticed that they weren't included or participating. Is there any reason why? That's all.
Through you, the worship. Yes, actually, we really did a big campaign on trying to get as a diverse representation on the council this year, and as we do every year. The previous Youth Council leadership team went and visited many schools in kura kaupapas to try and see if we could get more diversity. Unfortunately, we just didn't get the candidates this year applying. We will continue to make sure that we get a diverse representation, and we'll continue to work with those kuras to see if they'd bring forward their rangatahi for us.
Just for you, Your Worship, thank you for the reply. As a recommendation, can I recommend that the Māori ward, and including myself, participate in the next intake of rangatahi in support of the campaign of getting our kura kaupapa wharekura to attend as youth ambassadors.
Thank you. Councillor Shom, did you want to add our way forward?
Yes, sorry, I was remiss earlier, Your Worship, in highlighting that this training, it's not just myself who have been working alongside the Youth Council, it's also Councillor Butto and Councillor Nepe has also been involved in the process. And I'd also like to let Councillor Hiki know that we have wonderful Flaxmere representation this year, which is something we've struggled with.
That's
in the past.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Of course, of course.
Good. Thank you, Councillor Butto.
No, I just wanted to say it was lovely to see the interviews, the quality of kids coming through and wanting to stand for this, and the level of interest was huge. And the interviews were actually really good and really successful, and I was very happy to be there. Unfortunately, yes. No, it was great. Thanks.
Great. Great, thank you so much. We have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hiki, seconded Councillor Butto. No further comments. All those in favour? Oh, Councillor Jessup.
Thank you, Your Honour. I'd just like to congratulate all of those that did come on the committee, the Youth Council, and yes, we'd like to put our hand up to recruit and make sure there's more input next year, so it's on the to-do list. And
thank you.
The chairperson's from Pakipaki, the centre of the universe.
He is, Osiris, and he accompanied us to the dawn service and to an arts recovery breakfast. So they're out there working hard. They're attending everything. It's fantastic, awesome. Okay, I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Thank you. That's carried. Item 13 is the 2023 Local Government New Zealand Conference and AGM. Welcome to Louise. There is a gap there that hasn't been filled, and that is 4 councillors attending this year's AGM and conference: Councillor Sholem, Councillor Dixon, Councillor Harvey, Councillor Butto. Thank you. Anything else to add? Councillor Nixon.
Yes, just point out the record for 2021, I did not attend.
Thank you.
I don't
Councillor
know.
Redstone.
Similarly, I did not attend in 2022.
Right, okay. I
And-
think
and-
that you were
and
there and
Councillor-
were sick.
Councillor Lawson attended instead.
Yes, that's right.
Just need that
Thank you.
changed.
His apologies, sorry, I missed sickness. I just was
Okay.
going from the records. Thank you.
Lovely. We'll just make amendments to those so we get the records correct
Yep.
for next year. Thank you for that. Councillor Kerr.
Your Worship, I'm happy to move these recommendations. We spoke about it prior and there seemed to be general agreement, so happy to move. Noting you remain the presiding voting delegate, followed by Councillor Harvey and followed by Nigel Whittle if unavailable.
Wonderful, thank you. Councillor Corbyn.
Thank you, Sandra. While putting the record straight, Councillor Sears wasn't at 2021 either. She was supposed to be there, but had to pull it at the last minute.
And Your Worship, I was there.
Oh no. Sorry. Through Your Worship, I'd just like to make a small note, another observation that this is our first year of having the Takitsumi Ward in our Māori wards, and we don't have any representatives attending to support culturally in this major event in Ōtautahi. Just an observation.
Thank you. Okay, well, you know.
Any thoughts?
I'm not hell-bent that it's only 4. I mean, that's entirely up to council. If there should be an extra person, we'll take 4, but, you know, if there was council agreed that take a representative of the Takitsumi Ward, I hang on.
Yeah, thank you. This is, I think it follows on from it anyway, but just with the remit process, and we talked about putting forward a remit earlier today, and that we may not actually be able to because we've sort of missed the boat. But reading the rules or the application form, I'm not sure whether that is actually the case, and we may be able to put forward still a remit based on that it says, if your council wants to propose a remit for consideration by the 2023 AGM, please complete this form and email it by 24th of May. There are other requirements in regards to support by a zone, sector or 5 councils, but that comes before that latter one. So can we just get some clarity? If we've got to May 24, we've obviously got some time to just check into it. It doesn't need to be done today, but we had talked about actually putting forward our own remit.
Okay, can we take that up over the next week, please, and look at that? Can I leave somebody responsible to, one of our councillors responsible to follow that up? Thank
One
you.
that raised it, I suppose.
Thank you. And you, so, okay, thank you, councillor.
Are you talking about
Harvey?
the actual specific remit?
Yes, because it has to be worked through with the chairs of that area. That would be councillor Sholem, and that would be councillor Lawson. If we want to get that remit up, we could bring it back to council next week. That's still time. Would you like, what are people's views? You're in favour?
Yeah.
Okay, show of hands. People in favour? The remit still has to get accepted, you know, but if it's something in general that you think is important this year, there's no reason why we couldn't carry through with that. Councillor Heki?
Sorry, Your Worship. I'm recommending that a member of the Takitimu ward would attend the function in Christchurch. Yes, conference.
Okay, so so we've got two things happening here at the moment. So if we just take the remit, we've got a show of hands that there is a direction to look at a remit and bring that back. Could we take that as an action? Thank you. Councillor Kerr, and then we'll go back to additional.
Just for clarification, Your Worship, especially for those listening online, the remit in particular that we're talking about is a remit asking the Crown to consider change of legislation regarding the availability of vape shops, because as I understand, the current rules are limiting council's ability to influence. So specifically, this recommendation of a remit to come back at the next council meeting is dealing with that issue.
Okay, yes, thank you. Councillor Nixon, and then I'm going to go back to
No, I want to go back to
amendment.
I want to talk about the those who attend.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I do support Councillor Hickey, but perhaps for slightly different reasons. I do think it's an opportunity for new councillors to be exposed to the broader local government arena, and the fact that there are 3 new councillors on the Takitimu ward sort of fits into that.
Okay, so we can just add this as a 5th person, and rather than a 4th person. In the past, we have had people that have been sick and haven't been able to attend, and we've often had 3. So, you know, circumstances do change in the middle of the year in July, and people can't attend for various reasons, family and health and so forth. So, I mean, if people are comfortable that we have an additional 5th person, and it may end up only taking 4, but there has to be a big commitment from those 4 or 5 delegates, because it's hard work. And there's going to be a lot to do in Christchurch as we look at the recovery process. So I'm happy that Councillor Hickey, you're putting your hand up to attend the conference as a 5th delegate.
Your Worship, just to make things easier, I'm not on the Takitimu ward, but I'm happy if the representatives from the Takitimu ward are unavailable to support that as well.
Okay, well, we haven't got Councillor Renata here today, Nepi. but I know that he may, he'll be understanding what this means and he may be interested. So can we just take this offline, but make provision for either Atakatimu Ward Councillor or Councillor Hiki? Councillor Jessup?
Thank you, Sandra. I'd just like to second what Henry's saying, and I just realise the importance of having someone go down to the conference. Yes, and I'd value if we could sort that out between us to see who is the delegate that's going to go down to represent the Takitimu Ward. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Councillor Kerr?
I'm just wondering, to make it easier, should we just move these recommendations today, and at the next meeting, council meeting or the following, because we have got some coming up, we can add the appropriate name, which means there's plenty of time to discuss. Happy with that? So we'll move these, but hold the option of adding a person later. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. You happy to move,
Yes,
Councillor
Your
Kerr?
Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Nixon, second. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Thank you. That's carried. Now we move on to item 14, which is the proposed amendments to the schedule of meetings. And we've got Louise again. Anything?
Happy to move, Your Worship.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Redstone. I'll put those recommendations. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Thank you, that's carried. Local government official information request, Lagoimas, and pretty self-explanatory, quite a few, but of course it's, a lot of people through the cyclone needing to know things. So I'm happy to move from the chair. Councillor Watkins has seconded the Lagoima requests. Any comment or questions on those Lagoimas? I'll put those recommendations. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Thank you, that's carried. Thank you very much, Louise. Right, we're moving on to the item, which is an urgent item, and it's a supplementary agenda that you have in front of you. And this is a very important item, and the reason for the importance of this item being a supplementary as item 17 is that Council considers the Hiritonga Locality Plan at today's meeting. It cannot wait for future meeting, as it is critical that discussions with stakeholders and partners and community need to be progressed. So thank you, the staff who have put together this work, and I'll hand over to the Chief Executive to discuss this paper with you. Welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, councillors, as you know, recovery is fundamentally based on locality plans that are then regionally coordinated in terms of having an overall Hawke's Bay recovery plan that is supported by the government. So this is the first iteration of the recovery plan. It's been done in a matter of weeks and is necessarily focused in the first instance of capturing what we know at this stage with a focus on the most immediate priorities and needs of communities around being able to stand up again. What the recovery locality plan does is seeks to capture the impacts, and we all know, but for those that are online, the impacts of Cyclone Gabriel across all the different environments, our built, environmental, economic, cultural environment is significant. And I think the plan sets out pretty well what we understand the impacts to be of the event to date. Worth sort of touching on just a couple of things in each of those environments. We know that in the sort of built environment, significant impacts for Hiritonga Hastings. So 16 bridges completely destroyed, 26 seriously damaged, over 1,000 slips to clear, 100 plus kilometres of roading, predominantly in our rural network. Big impacts in terms of the 8 million cubic metres of silt that have been deposited. The impact that's been significant on a number of our communities, whether it's the highly impacted communities in Esk, Whirinaki, Tangoil, Risington, Pakowhai, Dartmoor, Puketitri, through to our marae and hapu-based communities, Petani, Tangoil, Waiheke, Motio, Oamahu. It has been significant. We know it has significant impact on our economy as the powerhouse of the Hawke's Bay economy, built around land-based industries, primary sector. There's a significant impact on our farming communities, on our horticultural and viticultural sectors of our economies. Recognise that for a number of our communities, and as Her Worship the Mayor mentioned earlier, heading off to Tūtera on Monday, we still have communities that are isolated. We are still in, whilst we're focusing on recovery, a bunch of response activities that are transitioning into recovery, where we've still got communities that need ongoing supply of goods. So the impact is significant. But what the locality plan seeks to set out is the impact, but how we're going to go about the process of recovery that is about now, short term and very long term. The key things about how we also do this, so clearly the locality plans is underpinned by working in partnership with iwi and mana whenua. As you're aware, we have off korero with our treaty partners organised our work around 3 zones, our northern, central and southern zone, around how we work with our iwi, our tai whenuas and our post-settlement groups, but also importantly the way that we work with our other communities, that these are community-led processes. But the plan also reflects some of our communities have been well organised and acknowledge, for example, the Oamahu plan that's significantly well advanced, through to communities that are just starting that process, through to some communities that are not ready to start that process at the moment. So this is the first iteration of that locality plan that by its nature is capturing what we know now, what are some of the now priorities, and obviously we will build into a process that we're working with our communities and partners on that's looking to have our next generation recovery plans done by the end of August, that will start to inform some of the more medium-term activities. But the plan is organised around 6 PO at the moment. Recovery transition, as I said, there's a bunch of response activities that are transitioning into recovery around community and whānau wellbeing that speaks to welfare support, community connectedness, housing, resilient infrastructure. Two words, but significant in terms of the activity. As we all know, a lot of the immediate now focus has been on restoring access, the work around restoring access for our rural communities, our farmers, getting temporary bridges in, sorting out roading, and just want to acknowledge the tremendous work, not just of our own staff that have worked really hard, but the hundreds and hundreds of contractors and local firms that have been working very hard over the last 79 days in that endeavour. Huge focus on our primary sector. I think we saw the front page articles this week on Hawke's Bay Today, our horticulture and viticulture sectors that are looking for a range of support, not just to help them clean up their orchards, but to re-establish their orchards and their vineyards, recognising that by the very nature, these are biological systems, and the faster we get trees and vines back in the ground, it is from the point that you get trees back in the ground, particularly apples, a number of years before we get production. So big focus on primary sector across horticulture, agriculture and farming. In the economic growth area, which will be work that's largely led by our Hawke's Bay Regional Economic Development Agency, a focus on some other sectors of our business community, particularly small business, tourism and events. And in the environmental resilience area, working closely with Hawke's Bay Regional Council, but where we are going to emerging priorities around land use, in particular climate change, how we deal with waste. So what the locality plan seeks to do, as I say, is bring that together that we know now, the focus on the most immediate needs of our communities across those dimensions, and is the basis on which we are both looking to have at a regional sense a focus on the priorities that are informed by communities, and then obviously continue to work with our communities as we develop more the medium-term focus. So that's probably more than enough from me, Your Worship, but want to acknowledge these are really important first steps. A long way in our context from being an articulation of all of our communities' priorities, because we have to reflect that we've got the full spectrum at the moment of one, knowledge, and two, where our communities are at in terms of engaging in these processes. But happy to take any questions through the team.
Thank you. Councillor Butto.
Thank you. Wanted to acknowledge the huge work that has gone into this document in a hugely tight time frame with little hard facts to go on, especially in our rural back country. A lot of farmers have only just been able to get back onto their farms, out to the back, and actually see the damage for themselves.
Yes.
And so a huge challenge in getting this together.
Thank you.
I would also like to acknowledge that the council and the staff will be working with our rural communities and other communities to develop their resilience and make them feel safe going into winter. There is always the huge risk of re-isolation with the delicate state our roading network is in, and making sure that they feel comfortable with their situation heading into winter will be so hugely important.
Thank you. Well said. Thank you, Councillor Butto. Very well said. Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Councillor Barrow. And just to reiterate what Chief Executive Nigel said, that there are still farmers that are isolated because our bridges are not safe to cross. There are still farmers that can't get stock out or feed in. There is still very critical small communities, hubs, I guess, roads, rather than that whole vast Pātoko or Tūtera area. And really conscious of the communities in Tūtera who have part-time access, and beyond those beyond the Waikari Gorge. Although they're in the Wairoa District Council, they come down through our Hastings district. Just really, we still see them, we still feel them, and looking forward to getting into Tūtera on Monday with you, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kerr. Councillor Redstone.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just very, very pleased with the climate change adaptation and resilience strategy, but wondering if there's a word missing, and that's mitigation, and whether we need to add in some mitigating things to this paper when it comes back in its next form. Because at the moment, I mean, we do adapt and we can be resilient, but how do we mitigate the climate change?
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Redstone. And I think it was incredible to see that all of Te Matua Māori Hawke's Bay councils had all submitted their preliminary first cut of their recovery plans in on Friday to the regional agency, and regional council are focusing very much on mitigation of future flooding events and flood protection. So that is their big focus, and we'll have an update on that, but yes, certainly point taken. Councillor Lawson.
Thank you, Mayor Sandra. Look, I just would like to also reiterate what other councillors have said and congratulate staff on transitioning from the response phase and managing to get this recovery strategy here, which is so thorough, which shows us a pathway forward, and I'm really looking forward to the next plan, because I think that there's going to be some really good opportunities with working with our community, working with our partners, and I can see that this has actually created that opportunity where we can do things better moving forward.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lawson. Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, thank you, and totally agree with all of the sentiments that have been put forward by others. One of the things I just wanted some clarity around was that we've developed our locality plan. There are some communities that have also done their recovery plans that have been put forward. Is what they've fed in put into this locality, or are they all on hold until we've got, you know, those smaller ones?
Mr Cameron, thank you.
It's through you, Madam Chair. I won't talk for too long. I'll probably just start coughing, so apologies for that. Yes, just before I answer Councillor Harvey's query, just like to thank on behalf of the staff the kind acknowledgements from the councillors. It's pretty immersing space, this, and what's probably the biggest public event that most of us will encounter in our lives. So we're getting to where we are, just like the hard mahi in the community, by probably pushing our staff to the limits and meeting on these dates. So we've tried to cover carefully in the disclaimer for the document, setting that context, balanced with the regional agency needs to start signalling to government this year sort of scale of investment is going to be required going forward. This process it's not a clearinghouse, and it's not an approving house, and it's not a catch-all. So we've received, I think, 5 or 6 presentations from Mariah or community groups or communities. So what we've done this time is just append them to this document. We haven't made that public because I'm not aware of their views on the contents of their submissions being public at this stage. So didn't feel it was appropriate to make it public at this stage till that's clear. So we're doing our best efforts in partnership with Mana Whenua to get that macro lens across all communities, whether that be sort of, I guess, human-based or geographically based, however you define the communities or areas of interest. And also, certainly from our staff's point of view, encouraging entities and agencies and businesses to directly engage with the regional authority as well to consolidate that view. So to answer your question, Councillor Harvey, anything that's coming in through us, we're just simply forwarding on to the recovery agency. And as I've just identified in the covering report, so I think we've got about 13 weeks to get through this next stage. So just on geographic basis, there's at least 20 communities that we need to engage with if they want us to communicate their situation, or they may wish to do it themselves or in partnership with us. And of course, some aren't even ready. As just mentioned, some farmers are simply just returning to their farms. I've been engaging with a number of parties myself individually over the last 2 weeks, and the first hour is usually just listening to people and offload about their situation. It's really opens your eyes to the situation of this whole thing.
Supplementary question, please. So I just want to be clear of the process so that when we're asked, that we can relay that in the correct way. So we are not the collector of those recovery plans and passing them on or having them within ours or attached to ours. They can just, it's up to them to curate it, collate it, and put that through to the recovery agency, not to council. Yeah.
It's not a either-or situation, so they can engage and present the materials straight through the recovery agency. We're making best efforts to RCD-wise to ensure that everyone has a chance to have their say. And if they wish us to embed their narrative into the wider narrative, we can do that, or we attend it. The other thing I've been very conscious with the team, I don't wish to become editors of the census information. So if people want us to merge that narrative, we do, but I'm very keen on also appendices where the first story is what the agency has the opportunity.
Thank you. Just one other. I just really want to make sure of this because I have been contacted by some to say, had we received? And therefore, I get worried that they think that we are taking that lead role on their behalf.
Yeah, I think without overcomplicating this, but this is complex, you know, these are our communities in Heretonia. There will be a range of things that have been captured as priorities and aspirations that fall very much into things that are the role and responsibility of Hastings District Council to make some decisions on, but inevitably a range of those priorities and aspirations that are being captured in the community need to go into a process where they are the decisions of others, around whether it's housing or financial assistance from government, or so part of this is a process of where we are trying to capture the needs and priorities of our communities. We're taking an approach regionally where we're asking a regional recovery agency to kind of pull out and be able to articulate the priorities of Hawke's Bay and be really clear about the interface with certainly government as it relates to decisions that we might be asking. So it's a mix of those things, Councillor Harvey. First and foremost, it is our job to make sure that we that we have a view of the priorities of the communities of Hastings, Heretonia. We're obviously feeding that into a process that we've committed to around ultimately being able to understand what recovery looks like for Hawke's Bay. But within this, there are going to be things that our community are asking for that aren't going to be decisions for government or aren't going to need to be coordinated or prioritised across the region, that will be things that this council needs to decide around levels of support or things that go to our roles and responsibilities. So I know it's a little bit complicated, but that is the nature of recovery. But in summary, yes, we have put those the first plan that you're seeing through into the Regional Recovery Agency. The Regional Recovery Agency is working with Matariki to say over the coming few weeks they are aiming to present to regional leaders, and we'll need to bring it back through council, a view of what we think the first sort of recovery plan for Hawke's Bay as a whole looks like. That is the basis for then interfacing with central government. And there will be a range of things that we need to pull out of this plan that's just been collated that comes back to this table around saying these are the things that absolutely go to our role, responsibility and choices that we have to make for our community. So it's a combination of those things. I hope that helps.
Councillor Dixon?
Yeah, thank you, Worship. Look, I fully realise the impact across rural communities of Arise has been absolutely enormous, but I'd like to really thank the leadership team and the staff and you, Your Worship, the magnificent job they've done in behind the scenes. It's been fabulous. I'm just wondering, as a question, is the Joel Road community hasn't been included. Should that be in there, or are they covered by us?
So some of the emerging and urgent areas for the communities of Havelock North and their 80 impacted families, and so as was raised the other week at the meeting, that the officers have included the water management of their waterways or streams, and so that has been included in this first preliminary work. But the staff are going to bring back some more work in terms of what that management of the streams looks like for the future for council's consideration, but it has been included. Craig, did you want anything to that? But those are the biggest concerns of our Havelock North communities is the water management.
Yeah, through you, Worship. And in terms of straight up investment request or signalling of investment request, this plan you'll note on page 45 in Info Council, a $20 million allowance for potential resilience and additional works of Havelock streams and dams as a placeholder while we wait for that detailed work to inform.
base. And just further to that, Madam Chair, the Jolly Road Community, Councillor Dixon will be one of those affected communities that we'll be looking to engage with one of our teams over the next 3 months.
Thank you. Councillor Redstone.
Thank you, Your Worship. Sorry about the second time round. Just going to comment about Cape Coast isn't in this report either, and there were 30 homes impacted. So that's just one comment. The other one is, I see the Marae Totara, there's going to be a rock revetment build. Just wondering about the scope of that, because we're having discussions, as you know, with the community about erosion in the car park before you get to the Marae Totara. So I'm just wondering what that rock revetment means and whether in fact that fixes that issue.
Mr. Thu, did you want to comment?
Through you, Worship, I'm not over the exact detail of that item, but from reading it, I think the community meeting the other day at Te Wanga is a separate to this. This is more around the Marae Totara stream, as different to the discussion in and around that car parking area and the potential for a rock revetment in that, which isn't directly related to Cyclone Gabrielle effects, but obviously from a climate, wider climate change effect.
Thank you. Just to add that the Marae Totara stream or river is seen to be the exacerbator of the erosion at the car park. So this is where my question was coming from.
Thank you, Councillor Redstone. Councillor Corbyn.
Thank you, Your Worship. There has been some comment from some of the impacted communities about consultation with them, and I guess this is what this is all about. But I think there is still some reservation that they are being listened to, and I'm just wondering what reassurance we give them that they are being consulted and they are being listened to, and if what they ask for isn't adopted, what response we give to them in that situation.
Yeah, so through you, Worship, the commitment is absolutely, this has to be a community-led process. It's not a council recovery plan, it is a community response plan across the many communities that make up the wonderful thing we call, Hastings Heretaunga District, the collection of coastal communities, marae-based hapu communities, urban centres, our villages. The inevitability in the first instance is on the now, we have focused on the most impacted communities, and for this event, it's not, so when I think about the Coast Council of Redstone, we know that that's got all manner of risks, that the big impacted communities from this event that we need to recover from in the first term is where we're focusing some of the attention. The message is, to your point, Councillor Corbyn, is this has to be community-led, and we have to listen and engage with our communities. It's not going to work any other way. So that is the commitment. This process, I'm not trying to say, look, it's been based on wonderful engagement and deep consultation with every community. It is the information we know now from a series of meetings, many of which that you have attended, some communities that have been very organised through to some that we don't have great information on for a variety of reasons. We are actively working with some of our most impacted communities. It's been awesome to see, and this is how this should be, our communities organising, leaders emerging, how they want to be involved in these processes. So, think about the cyclone impacted communities, and without being too controversial, I think if I'm reflecting back the things that I'm hearing from some of the leaders that are emerging in Pakowhai, well, 79 days ago, they didn't even identify necessarily as a community. And so some of this has brought communities together differently, and they're getting themselves organised in a way of engaging with us, and we're in active conversations now with some things that I think have emerged in the community that are going to be, a different way of working and really important for us getting this, right across a number of aspects going forward. But the absolute commitment is that the underpinning principles is this is done in partnership with iwi and mana whenua, and it's led by community and community voice. It's not a Hastings Council plan, it is a community recovery plan.
Thank you. you, Nigel. Councillor Sholin?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd just like to acknowledge, first of all, that the item we're looking at today, which is the first iteration of the locality plan, was developed with some serious time constraints, and I understand that there is a much more in-depth process that we would have all liked to have gone through. So I'd like to acknowledge that we've done the best with the time we had available, and that really our next opportunity is the one that needs to be the second iteration, which is in August. I think some of the questions that are being raised today are actually really timely, because at the moment what's being evolved is a community recovery project plan to engage each community in the way in which they want to be engaged. And that is actually going to be workshopped at the next community wellbeing subcommittee meeting, which all of council will be invited to. And I may also suggest out of that we have a report that formally comes to council to inform the wider community, as well as anyone who can't make it, as a way of answering some of these questions.
Thank you. And you're absolutely right, Councillor Sholin, that there's going to be 20 different communities who some will say just get on with it and do the best for us, and some will say we want to run this process ourselves. And so we have to work with all of our 20 communities, but as we've said all along, there will be make sure that they get their voice in any future recovery for our district. So this is absolutely critical how we move forward. We've got 13 weeks until the next iteration, and it's identifying, what their needs are and for each area. So thank you, and thank you to the team for the enormity of this work, which is largely around our business, actually, the stuff that we do in this first iteration. And I know the long hours that have gone into preparing this in the last 3 weeks. So thank you for the enormity of the work. Have a mover, please. Councillor Butto, Councillor Sholin second. Any further questions or comments? I'll put those recommendations. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any against? Thank you, and thank you for the great work. So that concludes today's council meeting. And can I just acknowledge for the minutes, Councillor Renata Nepi has put an apology in for this morning's workshop, and I apologise that didn't come through to the council meeting this afternoon. So I'd like to record his apology for today's council meeting. Thank you. And if we could add that to the minutes. Thank you very much. Okay, so to everybody who's been joining us today, thank you to the staff for the very thorough and detailed documents and papers. Thank you to councillors for all their hard work, and to our community who may have joined us today. Kia ora koutou katoa. And if we could close today's council meeting today with a karakia.
Kia ora tātou. Kia tau kia tātou katoa te atu whao tō tātou ari ki eiru Kraiti. Me te aroha o te atua me te whiwhi ngātaitanga ki te wairua tapu. Ake, ake, ake. Amen. Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora. Thank you, everyone.
Would it start? Oh.